It's always so lovely to see that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee's online worship service. I'm Reverend Dina McFeeters, and I'm honored to serve as Associate Minister at First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. Here we welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying with you and all your heart longs to set down. I'd like to welcome you to our worship service by inviting you to repeat our mission after me. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. Since we are at that time of year when the veil between the worlds is thin, they say, and the ancestors are near, and the calendar brings the pagan observance of Samhain, the Mexican holiday, Dia de los Muertos, the Christian All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, we will reflect this morning on memory and grief. These opening words are by Jan Richardson. It's called The Cure for Sorrow. Because I do not know any medicine for grief, but to let ourselves grieve. Because I do not know any cure for sorrow, but to let ourselves sorrow. Because I do not know any remedy, but to let the heart break, to let it fall open, then to let it fall open still more. Because I do not know how to mend the unmendable, unfixable, unhealable wound that keeps finding itself healed as we tend it, as we follow the line of it, as we let it lead us on the path it knows. Because I do not know any solace but to give ourselves into the love that will never cease to hold us, that will never loose its hold on us, that will never abandon us to the sorrow for which it holds the cure. Let's return to our sanctuary for the lighting of our flaming chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. There are many ways that we nurture a healing community at First Church. Today, we'd like to lift up the ministry of pastoral care. Our pastoral care associates offer a compassionate and confidential listening presence to church members going through difficult life transitions, like chronic illness, surgery, divorce, death of a loved one, pandemic life stress, or despair for our democracy, to name a few. One of our younger pastoral care associates tells this story about her ministry. As a parent of young children, I find it particularly meaningful to serve as a trained listener to other parents in the congregation. In this culture of comparison in which we live, it is difficult not to feel judged as a parent, to feel that what you're doing or how you're doing it is not good enough, not thoughtful enough, not intentional enough, or just simply not enough. And especially during this extremely challenging time of pandemic, everything about parenting is amplified. My role as a PCA, she continues, has allowed me to sit with folks who are deeply caring for others every day often at the expense of their own self-care, and to hold a quiet space for them without passing judgment, without offering advice, just listening and asking questions to help them open up the space for themselves even further. Serving as a pastoral care associate to parents, both new and seasoned, has opened my heart even wider. It is an honor and a privilege to serve the congregation in this manner. I'd like to recognize our pastoral care associates by saying their names as you see their photos. Jane Peterson is our pastoral care associate coordinator. And Lori Peterson is our lead trainer. Both Jane and Lori have served faithfully and skillfully for many years, and we are enormously grateful. Thank you. Our pastoral care associates include Andrew Alden, Julie Hamrick, Bob Kohlmeyer, Donna Moberg, Susan Nolte, Jerry Piercy, Sarah Richards, Dale Skaggs, Jen Vargas, our pastoral care associates are members of the congregation who completed a 20-hour training and are available over the phone, FaceTime, email, or text, but not in person during the pandemic. If you are a church member, pledging friend, or regular guest, and you'd like the healing presence of a PCA, please contact Jane Peterson at the special email address in your live chat. Our current team is in their 3rd year of service, so we'll be accepting applications for a new team in the spring of 2021 with training next fall. We also have pastoral care providers, and those are church members who provide short-term practical help. Before the pandemic, they provided meals and rides to other church members. Since the pandemic, a team of our younger adults are available to pick up and deliver groceries or prescriptions. Jane Dorweiler is our PCP coordinator. You can contact Jane Dorweiler at the special email address in the live chat if you need this kind of practical help. Thank you, Jane, and all those who currently serve as pastoral care providers. Last but not least, we added phone pals for social connection during the pandemic. If all that pastoral care sounds like too much attention, and you just appreciate a phone pal to chat with socially, please let me know, and I'll match you with one of our phone pals. Friends, we have made pastoral calls to more than 339 people over the last year. We are trying our best, but we know we fall short. We know that some of you who might appreciate care are falling through the cracks during this time of online church. So please, we need your help. Please contact me or Jane Peterson if you would like pastoral care. If you'd just like to be checked on every few months, let me or Jane know, and we'll add you to our wellness checks. If you need groceries or prescriptions delivered, please contact Jane Dorweiler. And if you just like a phone pal for social connection, I will put you in touch. It takes all of us to nurture a healing community in these trying times. Friends, because of these unprecedented times in which we are living, we continue our pandemic practice of lighting the COVID candle for any of our members who have had a loved one die, either from COVID or any other cause. If you've had a loved one die during these times, please let one of the ministers know if you would like the COVID candle lit in their honor. I'm sorry to say that we do have a COVID candle this morning. Julie Hamrick's father, Richard Luther Hamrick, died from congestive heart failure early Monday morning, October 26, 2020, in Franklin, Wisconsin, with his family nearby. He was 93 years old. So today, we light the candle in honor of Richard Luther Hamrick. As we enter into a time of meditation, followed by silence, followed by singing Spirit of Life, I invite you to find a way wherever you are to ground yourself. Perhaps you can put your feet on the floor, maybe find a way to lift your spine so you can breathe deeply. And let your hands come to a resting place. This spoken meditation is called They Are With Us Still by Kathleen McTeague. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them, choose the deeper path of living. I'd like to invite us at this time into a candles of memory ritual. I'd invite you who are close to your screens to remember your loved ones that you have lost and type their names into the live chat. Whenever you're ready, type their names into the live chat. Say their names out loud. Remember them. I will light votive candles in honor and in memory of our loved ones. You may want to light a candle at home. And when all the candles are lit, I will come back to introduce our shared silence. Friends, let us take the memory of those we loved and lost into our shared silence, along with their strength, their courage, and their love.
My name is Jeff Piercy. I'm happy to serve as worship associate this morning and to share some thoughts about healing. I was deeply saddened by the loss of my best friend. Always in my thoughts, always there for me in sadness and ecstasy, and now gone. No more joining me for parties, no more helping to liberate me from my shyness, no more helping me to have courage and not be afraid, and now gone. No more help creating my persona of toughness, being a daring guy, a bad boy that a lot of women found attractive, and now gone. My best friend was alcohol. Most normal people, normies we call them, have a difficult time understanding that recovery from alcoholism includes the grief over the loss of a relationship with booze that we have depended on. It seems counterintuitive that the substance that warped our lives and was killing us was also our most loyal friend. This longing for the comfort of an old friend may well be one of the causes of relapse. Wanting to return to an easy escape and the belief that this time the result would be different. But recovery includes coming to terms with losing our most loyal friend, grieving that loss, and engaging recovery as a path to healing. Perhaps my experience with healing may speak to others. It begins with an honest appraisal of our situation, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This appraisal is best done in the company of others who have had the same experience. The shared experience with people is a critical step in the process of healing. I also found that it was important to ask for help. Sickness and loss often cause aberrant behavior. For me and others, it is critical to identify all those who we have harmed and make amends for our behavior. One of the best explanations of this was a sermon by Reverend Dina on the concept of atonement during Yom Kippur. Because grief and illness can be cyclical, it is important for me to monitor my symptoms on a daily basis and to rectify backsliding. It is important for me to help others. This is a brief synopsis of a 12-step program. We often refer to the book Alcoholics Anonymous for guidance. It is interesting that there is no chapter in that book which refers to contemplation. There is, however, a long chapter called Into Action. The process of healing is an active process. It requires doing something to create an environment in which change can be the result. The 12-step program actually makes a set of promises, a guarantee, if you will, that the work will be successful. There's a promise of healing, that there is a new freedom and happiness in store, that we will not forget the past. We no longer regret the past, but the past will not control us. Our whole attitude and outlook will change. I still remember my old friend. We call it euphoric recall. But he has been gone 39 years now, almost like he was never a part of my life, a life that at one time did not seem possible or enjoyable without him. And now, as long as I am diligent, continuing the process of healing, the loss of that old friend remains in my past, and I'm able to know and experience a new freedom.
One of the most helpful things someone told me after my dear father died is that my relationship with him didn't end with his death. Our connection continues, just in a different form. This helped validate my sense that he was still with me somehow, even though at times his absence was stark and painful. The sense of a connection with those I've loved and lost helps me heal. Indeed, one of the most significant things we do as meaning-making humans is to make meaning of our losses. And we have so many these days, layers upon layers of loss, and often very little time and space to feel our grief, much less make meaning from it. So this morning, as we float in the great collective breath before Election Day, let's take time to name our losses and talk about grief and healing. During this pandemic, people have lost jobs and income, food security, and homes. People have lost school and all that comes with it, socializing, sports, time with caring adults other than their parents. And parents lost precious time away from their kids. People have lost connections across the generations, in-person visits at elder care facilities or family members attending a birth. People lost their healthcare advocates because of necessary limitations on visitors to hospital. People lost graduation ceremonies, and first-year college students lost their normal launch into quasi-independence. People have lost travel, theater, concerts, and festivals. People lost their businesses and their livelihood. People have lost friends across the intensified political divide or the racial justice reckoning. People lost their in-person faith communities, large celebrations at weddings and funerals. People lost communal dancing and singing with choirs. Retirees stayed home, losing a year of what they anticipated as an active life before age-related disabilities or illness set in. People in high-risk demographics for COVID-19 lost any sense they may have had of invulnerability. People lost trust in government, if they still had any left. People have lost loved ones to cancer, heart attack, addiction, gun violence, police violence, and other non-pandemic causes. And of course, people have lost loved ones to COVID-19, often without being able to be at their bedside. Our country is currently leading the world in the number of COVID cases. Losses will continue. There is a river of grief running underneath the surface of our lives. And these days, we can hear the river's song as it flows around obstacles in its path. Our tears come when the river of grief overflows its banks, those walls we carefully constructed against feeling our feelings, because we are so stretched by so many demands and we just have to get on with life. We don't have time to grieve. Grieving seems like a luxury. Well, you know and I know that grief doesn't care what we think or what elaborate methods we employ to keep it at a distance. Grief comes when we suffer loss. It is the natural human response. In her book, It's Okay That You're Not Okay, by Megan Devine, she writes, when out-of-order death or a life-altering event enters your life, everything changes. Even when it's expected, death or loss still comes as a surprise. Everything is different now. The life you expected to unfold disappears. The world splits open, and nothing makes sense. Your life was normal, and now suddenly it's anything but normal. Otherwise intelligent people have started spouting slogans and platitudes, trying to cheer you up, trying to take away your pain. But the reality of grief is far different from what others see from the outside. There is pain in this world that you can't be cheered out of. You don't need solutions. You don't need to move on. You need someone to see your grief, to acknowledge it. Some things cannot be fixed. They can only be carried. I want to say that line again. Some things cannot be fixed. They can only be carried. My question to us today is, how are we carrying our grief these days? Many cultures and faith traditions often create customs around grief, which help us carry it. At First Unitarian Society in Milwaukee, our grief custom is to gather at a memorial service to remember, celebrate, and honor the deceased and support the bereaved. We focus on the deceased person's life, giving tributes that do not shrink from the complexities of their life or the reality of death. We view photos from the arc of their life. We laugh, we cry, and connect with each other, committing the deceased to the community of memory and hope, and that great cloud of witnesses. Music heals us, and so does the presence of each other, breathing in the pews, shoulder to shoulder. The hugs, words of condolence, and telling of stories let us know that we are not carrying the grief alone. Of course, this is very different without in-person church. We do our best to carry our grief together during an online memory circle or an online memorial service. We light the COVID candle or the candle of life during Sunday worship. We connect people to pastoral care associates for listening companionship on the long grief journey. But it's hard. It's hard to truly see and witness each other these days. It's difficult to sense our community's connective tissue, to know how people are feeling and what they might need. Yes Magazine published the death issue in fall 2019, pre-pandemic. There's a commentary in that issue by Kari Nixon called Bring Back a Visible Mourning Culture. She wrote this after suffering a personal loss. She wrote, as a scholar of Victorian disease, I think about death nearly every day, but this did not protect me from the sucker punch of loss. expected to teach my classes on Victorian culture and live my life with the stoic professionalism of the unbereaved, I felt lost. I needed others to see me, to acknowledge my grief. Somehow, that eased the nauseating feeling that my loss of something tangible was itself intangible. So, with the existential defiance of the bereft, I went into Victorian mourning. I wore black clothes and jet jewelry for weeks, comforted by their mute message. Here stands loss, unalterable, unutterable loss. But in 2019, she continues, my mourning cues were indecipherable. How I wished in that black hole of clawing grief that they were readable signs calling for community support when I didn't have the strength to ask for it. Friends, we live in a society that, by and large, does not have mourning cues. No custom of wearing black dress or armbands for a prescribed length of time. No tearing of garments, shaving of heads. 3 days bereavement leave from most jobs, if any. After the funeral, grief is swept under the rug. Yet, of course, people continue to grieve. People don't finish grieving in 1 week or 1 month or even 1 year. What could we use as a readable sign calling for community support when we don't have the strength to ask for it? My colleague, the Reverend Leah Ongiri, created grief kits for her congregation as soon as she realized the pandemic would change our grieving customs. A grief kit is offered to any congregation member who has lost a loved one. It's a simple thing. It's a paper bag, a small paper bag with a small votive candle inside, a poem, and instructions on how to create a simple home altar where you can be by yourself or with the people in your pandemic bubble to mark the loss, remember your loved one, and receive support. Most significant for cultural mourning, the grief kit contains a piece of paper with a large black heart and the words, "This home is in mourning," that you can attach to your front window if you like. I have the instructions for creating grief kits. I just haven't had time to do it. If any of you would like to volunteer to find the supplies and assemble them, I'm happy to reimburse you for the cost of the supplies from our church pastoral care budget, and I'll distribute the grief kits to our church members who would like that form of support to give them a readable sign. Before my elderly father died, I could not imagine a world without him. I anticipated appearing in that unimaginable world the day after he died with shorn locks. I thought I would shave my head, or at least get a super short haircut. That way, people would know that I was different. My outsides would match my insides. But I didn't do it. It would have invited too many questions. But mostly, it didn't feel fitting to who my father was. He was a gentle man, not given to overly dramatic gestures. As I was settling and sorting through my memories of him, that's what felt right. One of the most important things we do while we are grieving a lost loved one is sort through our memories of them. This is an organic process. Memories come bidden or unbidden into our hearts and minds. The good, the bad, the ugly, the amusing, the sad, the poignant, the beautiful. We sort through these memories, deciding which ones to keep, to hold close, and to share with others. We also choose which memories to let go, which we don't want to remember. Barbara Kingsolver wrote, "A memory is a complicated thing, a relative to truth, but not its twin." I wonder, how shall we make meaning from our lost loved ones' lives when memory is a complicated thing, even a thing that we shape? If the person we lost is someone who harmed us, how can we transform that harm in such a way that we do not continue the cycle of inflicting it upon others? Because whoever they were to us, in some way, they are with us still. One helpful way to make meaning is to ask, what is one of our loved ones' core values that we want to carry forward? We can name that value and practice living it out in our own life. We might ask, how did our loved one give us strength? For strength is surely needed in these times. We might ask, how did our lost loved one give us courage? For courage is surely needed in these times. How did our lost loved one give us vision? For vision is surely needed in these times. They are with us still. As McTeague wrote, we share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. Sometimes when I want something happy to think about, I imagine that distant day when we return to in-person church. I cannot predict when that day will be. And given the rising number of positive COVID cases and deaths in Wisconsin, it may not come for a very long time. But I know I will be filled with such deep joy to see you again, together in our sacred space. Well, who am I kidding? My glasses will be so fogged up from wearing a mask or my tears of joy or both, I won't be able to see anyone. But truly I tell you, the day of our great reunion in our beautiful sanctuary, when we can once again experience ourselves as a group body in worship and community, will be a deeply joyful day. And we will have some grieving to catch up on. We will notice who is here and who is missing, who we mourned while physically distant during an online memorial service, and whose family postponed their service because we just never knew it would take this long. We will need to find new ways to hold our collective grief and our deep honor to tend to each other's pain and healing. I look forward to that day, and I sing and dance on behalf of its coming. In the meantime, dear ones, let us attend to our grief, for grief and hope are closely intertwined, and hope is surely needed in these times. Thank you so much. That was healing to sing Comfort Me. I hope you all were able to sing that beautiful music. And thank you all so much for your generosity. Pledges are the core of our church's practice of generosity. We're also sustained by additional gifts that support our ministry. So we thank the folks out there who are appreciating this online ministry and supporting it by texting 73256 with the message "Give to you," or giving on our website. Your gifts help us to continue to provide this ministry. We also share the plate with an organization each month. In November, our Share the Plate recipient is Zao Milwaukee Church. Since 2016, Zao Milwaukee has been serving as a Jesus-rooted, justice-centered, and radically inclusive church of diverse folks, explicitly affirming the life, value, and worth of LGBTQIA people and the movement for Black lives. You can go to their website and give with the note, "Share the Plate from FUSM." You can also hear their forum this morning. I'll be speaking at the forum at 11 a.m. today. I hope you can join us for that. You can see all these options on your screen now, and they will live on in the YouTube comments section of this video after worship is over. Thank you so much for giving right now or when you come back later. Your support keeps us and our community strong. Thank you. These closing words are called Blessing of Memory by Jan Richardson. You were born remembering this blessing. It has never not been with you, weaving itself daily through the threads of each story, each dream, each word you spoke or received, everything you hoped, every person you loved, all that you lost with astonishing sorrow, all that you welcomed with unimagined joy. I tell you, you bear this blessing in your bones. But if the day should come when you can no longer bring this blessing to mind, we will hold it for you. We will remember it for you. And when the time comes, we will breathe this blessing to you at the last, as you are gathered into the place where all that has been lost finds its way back to you, where all memory returns to you, where you know yourself unforgotten and entirely welcomed home. May it be so.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah,